Hey guys, welcome back to Karan's Cuisine. For my 5th world tour video, I'll be making full medames from Egypt. Full medames is one of Egypt's national dishes, and it's eaten around Egypt as a healthy breakfast. One of the main ingredients in full medames is fava beans, but I couldn't find fava beans at my local supermarket, so I'm going to be using kidney beans. The ingredients needed are 1 cup of kidney beans. You can either use dry kidney beans or canned kidney beans. And I'm using dry kidney beans, and for the dry kidney beans, you need to soak it for 6 to 12 hours overnight and then rinse it again in the morning. But if you're just using the canned kidney beans, then take it and then wash the sodium out of it, and then you can cook it for 10 minutes on a pan, and then it'll be ready. Next, you need a little bit of parsley and coriander, 6 to 8 cloves of garlic, 2 tomatoes, 2 green chilies, and a few green chilies if you want it to be spicier, half of an onion diced, half of a lemon for lemon juice, 1 teaspoon of coriander powder, and 2 teaspoons of cumin. Let's get started. First step is to cook your beans. If you have canned beans, all you have to do is cook it with a little bit of water on medium heat in a pot for 5 to 10 minutes, and then you'll be done. But if you have dry beans, there are 3 different ways to cook it. The first way is on a slow cooker with a little bit of water, and you cook it for 6 to 8 hours. And the second way is in a pressure cooker, and you cook it with a little bit of water for 25 to 30 minutes. And if you don't have either of these, then you can cook it in a pot while adding water as the water boils away, and this takes about 3 to 4 hours until the beans get mushy. I'm going to be doing the pressure cooker way, so I'll show you how to do that. For the pressure cooker way, I added 3/4 cups of water to my 1 cup of beans, and we have to cook this until 3 whistles happen. It's cooked in the pressure cooker for 30 minutes, and now I took it out, and this is the consistency that it is. You can just easily mush it like that. And now we can set this aside for 5 minutes. It's been 5 minutes, and it's cool enough for me to handle, so now I can pour out the water. Now we can mash it. I'm using a fork, but you can use a potato masher or anything you have in your home. Next step is to heat your pan on medium heat, and then add 1.5 to 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil, which I've already done. Then add your jalapeños. And I've already crushed my garlic, and I've added 3 of these small chilies for extra spice. So add this and stir for 30 seconds. After this, wait 30 seconds and then add the onions and stir for 2 minutes. After cooking for 2 minutes, add a little bit of salt and then wait until the onions are brown. Now we can add the salt, and once you've added the salt, wait until the onions are totally brown, which takes about 1 to 2 minutes. Now the onions are brown, so we can cook the tomatoes and cook them until they're soft or until the oil comes out, which usually takes about 4 to 5 minutes. It's been about 6 to 7 minutes, and the oils are coming out, so now it's time to add the bean paste and the bean water. And you can mash this up to any consistency you want. You can fully mash it, or you can leave some bean chunks in for texture, which is what I did. So now that the oils are leaking out, we can add the salt along with the water. Now mix it up and cook it for about 2 to 3 minutes. Then 3 minutes of cooking, and now I can add the 1/2 cup of water and your seasonings. Now add your coriander, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and 2 tablespoons of freshly ground cumin, which I've grounded right now. But if you just have normal cumin powder, you can use that, but freshly ground cumin has a better aroma and flavor. Once this is all mixed up, cook it for 5 minutes with the lid closed. It's been about 6 minutes of cooking, so now I can mix in lemon juice and some coriander and parsley and then take it off the flame. Now take it off of the heat and then turn off the stove. So the full medames is done, so we can wait for it to cool for 5 minutes and then put it on a plate to serve. I've transferred my full medames into a bowl and I've added some parsley, coriander, and tomato on top as a garnish. And for my final touch, I've created a mold and I'm gonna add my 2 tablespoons of olive oil inside this and a little bit on the outsides. And you can eat this plain with a spoon like this, or you can eat it with pita bread or crackers or chips. And you can also eat it as a breakfast with hard-boiled eggs. But I'm just gonna eat it plain with a spoon because I have none of those things. Okay, time to taste it. The texture and the bean chunks really make it so good, and I recommend eating this like hot because if it's cold it doesn't taste that good, but this tastes really good and I recommend you to taste this recipe and like and subscribe and stay tuned for my next recipe, which is macarons from France.